Welcome back to Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough. This is part 10, I believe? Part 9, either one. We're going into Blighttown, one of the most infamous locations in the game. Quite nefarious for various reasons. One being how dark it is. Two, for the frame rate, even though the frame rate has been corrected for the most part in the Remastered. I don't really consider that to be its main challenge anymore like it used to be back on the PS3 days. Xbox, I'm assuming, is probably not too different from the PS3 in terms of its frame rate for this game, although I could be correct on that. And just the enemy gauntlet. There's a lot of toxin, or you get introduced to toxin in this area by some enemies sporting a blowpipe. You're gonna see me get hit with toxin here a few times because my positioning is not the greatest. I should be standing closer to the left because the toxin guy is right over there by that where that torch is in the back, if you see it on the right. But that's fine. If you bought some moss from that NPC merchant before the depths, it's gonna come very handy for anyone who's struggling through this area. I think that NPC is a godsend, and I'm glad that they put her where she was at, because if they had not done that, or you had no NPC to give you those types of items, you probably couldn't complete this area. I almost died there. I should have fallen on top of the pillar, or the post that was posted up there, but my jump was kind of awkward. There was a small jump cut there. I think I went through the section a little bit. I didn't like the way that I was navigating the area, so I decided to teleport back. But here's the most direct path. You can see two chili dogs over here coming up. You can dispatch them very quickly. They can breathe fire, and they will, depending on how far away you are from them. If you see them stop for a moment, it'll be a couple seconds before they start breathing fire in a sweeping motion. Something you want to be very careful about because that can throw people off guard. And if you're not playing unlocked, or you're not used to playing unlocked, then you're probably going to get caught out. And their flame can break your shield stability, so. That path you saw me take was based on where the torches were at. If you just follow the general path of where the torches are headed, you'll find your way through. It's not as difficult to navigate as it might appear to be at first. I don't know what happened to him. I think he fell off. We can confirm that by the souls that we just received. So that's fortunate for us. That will not happen all the time though, so don't take that as a legitimate strategy. Right here, I'm kind of attacking this monster at range. You might want to use a bow when you fight him at first, because if you don't judge the spacing correctly, he'll use its I don't know what you call it, tentacles, like little pincers or whatever you want to call it. He'll basically thrust down at the ground, out of rage, out of frustration for the player being nearby. So the best weapon aside from a bow is probably a halberd. You could probably use an ultra greatsword too if you just use the R2s from a distance, but the halberd works best there if you're just trying to go for raw damage and you don't have a bow. Spells, pyromancies, although I don't advise pyromancies. They can do two different attacks. They have a sweeping flame, and then they just have like a forward kind of thrusting flame attack. They do carry a lingering hitbox, so just be mindful of that. It's not as true as it looks. That's another blowpipe guy. You want to kill those guys as soon as possible. They do not respawn, thankfully, but that also limits the amount of recovery items that you're going to receive in this area. If for some reason you didn't buy them, or you forgot to buy them, or you've been suffering through this area for quite some time and you just haven't found a way to get through, then that's going to be an issue. But all jokes aside, you know, we're heading down the path. It's nothing too difficult here. If you spend time in this area and just kind of walk around the swamp, there's quite a few items you can collect. If you're doing this much earlier in the game, assuming you know the path from New Londo to get to the Valley of Drakes to get here, you can actually you can farm for large titanite shards if you're doing this path out of order and you broke sequence. So getting here early on, or even getting the green titanite shards to get a fire weapon at this point in the game, it's actually really helpful. If you decide to go about it that way, it's the earliest way for you to get strong before Sun's Fortress. If you take it a step further and do New Londo after that, then you can get a plus 15 weapon before you even get to the Taurus Demon. So there's a lot of alternatives to getting powerful, but we're not going to go back there just for the fact that I'm going to do the Great Hollow / Ash Lake in a different video. That will be probably towards endgame, because I don't like going to that area. I think it's a pain in the ass. Ash Lake looks beautiful, but getting through the Great Hollow is just, it's a mess. It's not fun. There's a lot of places you can fall from. There's a lot of places that can fuck you over or look deceiving in terms of geometry. You might be on a branch and then randomly just fall off. So those are all things you need to kind of, I don't even know what to call it. It's just things to be aware of once you enter that area. If you do go there, try to grab the Chloranthy ring. It's a good ring. I like it. If I'm not using the Grass Crest shield, or if I'm using no shield, it still allows you to have that stamina speed up effect where you can recover your green bar a lot faster. But it's all good. That is the Pyromancer, who will allow you to ascend your flame to the Ascended form after plus 15. If you want to get a very broken weapon at this point in the game, I highly suggest you do so if you can afford it. I don't think you can at this point. At least I doubt it. Unless you've done a lot of farming, which farming for souls in this game is kind of pointless. There's not a lot of areas you can go to right now aside from New Londo that's going to afford you a good amount of souls per farm. So that's why I say if you can't get it to +5, the +5 Ascended, then don't bother. Here I'm putting on the Wolf Ring because if you don't have poise and they hit you with the blowpipe, you're going to stagger every time you take a dart. So having this on allows you to walk through everything without getting staggered, so you can go through, take the toxin effect, get the toxin procs, and then hit the blowpipe guys without having to worry about it, as you just saw there. This poise allows me to act a little more recklessly, but again, you're on a time limit, and with the health pool that you're going to have at this point, unless you've just been pumping your vitality the entire way through, you're not going to be able to run through here like this as steadfast as I am. So here you're using the bow. There is a second mosquito that's gonna spawn or come through here. They're still following me. Be very careful about that. You need to make sure that you're monitoring where their positions are at, because if you don't, you're gonna be put into some unfortunate situations, which you're going to see here. I did not hear that dog because I was playing with no audio at this point. You're gonna see some bitch-made gameplay here, but again, we're trying to survive. I'm not trying to die, so if I can deal with them, I'm going to. And again, you know, you don't have to panic heal in this game. It's a common misconception to, you know, you need to heal up as quickly as possible. I got fortunate that they were in a good spot for me to double tag them. I could have sworn there were dogs over there, like to my left. I guess I wasn't in like their aggro range. Yeah, there's one right there at the end. Not the one in the wheel, but the one like on the bottom half of that walkway. Yeah, that's the Firekeeper soul. That's what we came up here for. But now we're back. I cut out the warp. I just find it a little excessive to be watching loading screens every fucking time I do that, but. Now we're heading towards the boss. Just gonna deal with her. I have a really good strategy for you if you're using the halberd. If you're not, you can achieve the same thing with a bow. You can achieve the same thing with sorceries. And if you're able to use pyromancers effectively, you can achieve it even with those if you're free-handed. So, don't attack those guys. Just laying there, they're kind of praying to as chaos servants to Lady Quailano, whatever her name is. I forget. It's like my soul's lore has been completely like out of order. But what we're going to do here is we're going to stagger this boss repeatedly until she dies. No nonsense approach. We're not gonna worry about any of her attacks. We're not gonna worry about any of her bullshit. We're gonna get into a loop where every time you hit the body, you hit the actual body of the woman, it will cause it will cause her to stagger. Obviously, you can't reset her animation by doing it multiple times while she's staggered, but if you time it correctly, every time she goes for an attack, you will stagger her and keep her in place until she's dead. And this, like I said, this can be achieved with multiple weapons, but I find the halberd to be the easiest. I believe they use this in speedrunning as well. As a quick way to get her handled. Don't attack from the sides. You have to attack directly from the front to achieve this. I was kind of nervous because of the fire, but again, there you go. There's a stagger. We're waiting for the reset. There you go. Doing it again, and we just keep doing this until she's dead. There's nothing she can do at this point. I didn't realize she was only one hit, so I went back for the stagger, but you know, it's all good. But you know, if you have more powerful weapons, you can do this in fewer hits, but again, it's a very simple strat, and it's not that hard to set up either. Anybody can do it. It's ideal to do it on flat ground, or if she's facing downwards, then it's easier to get that body hitbox. But you know, other than that, that's it for the boss fight. She's not that difficult to handle, and at this point now that we have both bells wrong, we're going to go straight to the Sans Fortress, or haven't unlocked at least. If you looked at my character model, it looked a little weird. That's from the effect of Power Wolfen. It's still proccing on the cutscene, despite the aura not being in effect. So I found it a little weird. But yeah, so expect Sans Fortress to come up pretty soon, and I'll have that out. But you know, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'm out. Catch you in the next one.